Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another news update from Bethesda, more specifically from PAX East over in the US, where 2 interviews with Hines were done. While Pete didn't say anything clear-cut or reveal anything really cool or obvious, he did say some things that made me go, what? And I'd love your help deciphering them. So these 2 interviews were performed by Game Reactor and Jill Shockers. Links to the original interviews can be found down in the description if you want to check the whole things out. And you know, most of these interviews was about stuff that's already been announced or Switch stuff. But with me and, this channel in particular, we're very interested in Bethesda Game Studios games. So let's just get straight into the interviews, shall we? So let's look ahead then. It seems like your later half of the year is kind of empty right now. It does seem like that. Will that be changing in the next few months, particularly in around June? E3. I couldn't give you any guesses as to what we're going to announce and when those games will be out, but I will say we have a lot of new stuff to talk about at E3. Whether or not folks realize it, this is hell on earth time for us with E3. We are in the midst of so much planning and work for all of the content, but I'm really excited. I think we have a lot of stuff that folks are going to like. To my earlier comment, by the way, I went through the interview, I have no idea what comment he's referencing there. It's going to be a big mix of stuff that's all over the place. It's not going to be like all, one kind of game or genre. It's going to be a lot of stuff in a lot of different areas, and hopefully there's something in there for everybody. Can you tease if we'll hear anything from Bethesda Game Studios? I cannot. So that's the first interview. Let's deconstruct that a little bit. So Pete said they've been planning for E3 for ages and he's really excited about it, no problem. What is interesting is that there's a big mix of stuff that's all over the place. It's not going to be all one kind of genre. It's going to be a lot of stuff in a lot of different areas, and hopefully there's something in there for everybody. Well, myself, it would be an open world RPG single player game. And I think that most of Bethesda Softworks fans are into the big open world single player games. So for him to say that, hopefully there's something in there for everyone. And then for Bethesda Game Studios to not announce or release a new open world single player RPG, that would be a bad move. But it is interesting that he says we have a lot of new stuff to talk about at E3. He didn't say, we've got some cool new stuff to talk about at E3. He said we have a lot. A lot. If you watched my Bethesda E3 prediction video, you'll know that pretty much all of their studios have released stuff really recently, which led us to the conclusion that there wouldn't be a lot of stuff at E3, and therefore a massive chunk of Bethesda's showcase would have to be Bethesda Game Studios because there's pretty much nothing to show. But Pete pretty much just cut that theory in half right here by saying there's a lot of new stuff to talk about at E3. Now before we get too tinfoil hats, let's go through the other interview. We have some surprises in store, he said. We're going to be talking about a healthy number of new games and new projects. We'll come back to that statement in a minute. And look, I'm really excited. We've been working on E3 for this year since September of last year. I'm already 8 months into working on E3, but I really like how it's coming along. I think there's going to be something in there for everyone, regardless of what you play on or what kind of games you're into. And my biggest hope, always, is that we deliver on the promise of E3. I think we promised a lot of stuff last year. We shipped every one of those games and they were all really good quality. I think we had the highest Metacritic rating of any publisher in 2017. And that's our goal again this year, is to not only talk about new stuff, but also deliver on those promises and give people the kind of games that they really want and expect from Bethesda. The kind of games they really want to expect from Bethesda, well, open world single player RPGs. Alright, so in that the second sentence there, we're going to be talking about a healthy number of new games and new projects. What the hell does that mean? He clearly distinguishes between new games and new projects. Well, when it comes to Bethesda Softworks and all of their gaming studios, when you're talking about a gaming studio and they say, we're working on a new project, I'm pretty sure to myself and everyone else that means they're working on a new game. If a band says, we're working on a new project, it probably means they're working on a new album. So when a game studio says we're working on a new project, it probably means it's a new game. But Pete very clearly says new games and new projects. So what the hell is a new project coming from a gaming studio or studios that isn't necessarily a game? I'm sure it's game related, but What does that mean? New games. Of course, we expect new games to be announced at E3. New projects, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. I suppose something like the Creation Club would be considered a project and not a game, because it's not a game, but it is a project. But then again, Creation Club's done. I don't know what other projects they could come up with. But anyway, I found that a really weird thing. He also said projects with an S. Plural. There's more than one new project, as well as more than one new game. Then he goes on to say that he's been working on E3 since September last year. That doesn't really surprise me, actually. People might think, dude, that's crazy, but if you think about Bethesda Land last year, I mean, I couldn't plan that thing with 50 years under my belt. So saying they've been planning this for 7 or 8 months, yeah, that, again, not surprised at all. Then he says, I think there's going to be something for everyone, regardless of what you play on or what kind of games you're into. So when he says, regardless of what you play on, I'd imagine everything's going to be coming to PC, everything's on Xbox, PlayStation, VR, and Switch. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. Or what kind of games you're into. Well, again, I'm into open world single player RPGs, specifically crafted by Bethesda Game Studios. So again, he's saying that whatever you're into, there'll probably be something for you. And again, I'm pretty sure most of Bethesda Softworks' gaming sales and interest is from Bethesda Game Studios' open-world single-player RPGs. So for him to say that, he must feel pretty safe that most of their audience is going to be into what they're releasing. And again, I'm pretty sure at least half of their audience is very much into open-world single-player RPGs. And then he pretty much just goes on to talk about, keeping the promise of E3 or whatever. So what I'm really interested in is your thoughts on what you think he means by new games and new projects. What are new projects? What are projects, if not a game when it comes to a gaming studio? I don't know what that means. And also, do you think that this backs up the idea that Bethesda Game Studios is going to release a new game or announce a new game at E3 this year? Because Pete keeps saying that no matter what you're into, there'll be something for you. Well, again, for me, who's pretty much only into single-player open-world RPGs, that statement to me means that there's going to be an open world single player RPG. And if that isn't the case, then I feel like that was some very poor wording from Pete Hines that he said more than once as well. Anyway, very curious indeed. E3 isn't that far away, but if any more weird things like this happen, I'll be sure to bring them up. So be sure to let me know, please, what you think the new projects thing means. I'm very interested to hear what you guys and girls have to say. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Camel, and I will see you very shortly in the next video. And hopefully in a week or so, in another one of these news videos with some new juicy juice. Again, thanks for watching. I've been Camel, and I'll see you soon.